welcome to the ROBBCAST, an interview series on the Emo Kids Anonymous podcast network. Now today, we have an interview with Jeremy Romance. This is a emo rapper based out of Syracuse, New York. You'll be seeing him at the Warped Tour stop in Orlando this year. Now, if you've seen the ROBBCAST before, you know normally we have about hour-long in-depth interviews with artists, entertainers, and the like. And at first I didn't believe this episode was quite up to the normal quality of what I'd consider a ROBBCAST. Just we didn't quite have the time. Jeremy was backstage at a show, busy. You know, it's tough for us to really dive in on things, I imagine. So, you know, had to wrap it up early. Either way, I do believe, you know, that we do owe you, the fans and the listener, the pleasure and the right or whatever to hear it regardless and to check it out. Because, you know, interview's an interview, regardless if it turns out good or not. You know, look at little Adam 22 or 23 or whatever they fucking call him. Adam 23 and me, I don't fucking know. Anyways, this is my interview with Jeremy Romance. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ROBBCAST, a podcast on the Emo Kids Anonymous podcast network. Today I have a guest, a special guest. This is Jeremy Romance. He's a emo trap rapper, I'd say. You're gonna see him this fall on the Warped Tour. What's up, brother?
How you doing? It's
Good,
good to
good.
be
Thanks for
here.
joining us. So, you're currently, where are you at right now? You're in Buffalo or Syracuse? Where are you at?
I'm in Syracuse right now. I am playing a show with TX2 and Dark Divine.
Okay, okay. So, I mean, you're a how did we end up in this world basically? I mean, what led you to being on a show tonight with TX2? Let's give them a quick little rundown of who the hell you are, basically.
I mean, TX2, he has a lot of the same influences, My Chemical Romance and Eminem, and that's the same influences that I have. So even though I'm more on the hip hop side and he's more on the emo side, I feel like the show's gonna go really well together.
I was gonna say when I listen, I was like, there's certain parts of songs where I was like, there's a lot of Eminem on here as well. Like, and it's not just because we're like angry white boys. It's just like I'm like, okay, this I can tell. Jeremy Romance grew up on some Eminem. What was your first Eminem record, and what's your favorite?
Marshall Mathers LP was my
Okay.
first. And it's probably my favorite also, but I really like his new one, The Death of Slim Shady. I thought was really well done.
Wow. Yeah, no, I remember where I was when I bought Marshall Mathers LP. You know, I think I just turned 12 years old. It was like, yeah, like that. Yeah, I had to have that shit, you
Oh
know?
my gosh, we're like the same age. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, right. That's what I thought. I'm like clearly same similar influences here. So, I mean, so far we have the Broken Heart Chronicles comes out last year. Yeah, the mixtape a couple years before that. So the
Yeah.
artist Jeremy Romance is fairly new, but were you in music before this? How did this get started?
I was in a band for like 10 years before this.
Okay.
We did Warped Tour like 5 years in a row, toured with Aiden and different bands that I like they used and a bunch of things that I can't even think of right now because I'm so focused on the future.
All right. Okay. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Right. That works. There we
Yeah,
go.
man. No, I used to be in a band for like 10 years and whatnot. I did that. And then, long story short, it just got like to the point where everybody was, they got old and
Yeah.
got families and whatnot. And I just wanted to keep going with it. And
Relatable. Very relatable.
yeah, here I am. So I'm still here.
I mean, you're doing pretty decently right now. I mean,
Thank
you,
you.
you've been booked yourself on the Warped Tour. Here you are playing with one of the bigger stars on the internet. I mean, what's been the way you've kind of been able to make these connections happen so early in the process? Because I know some guys can grind for years and not really get any motion.
I mean, I just am fearless. I just go out and reach out and I'm just like, hey, what's up? Let's do
There
this.
we fucking
And
go. I mean,
that's it.
yeah, yeah, that's how we met. I think I did a Warped Tour announcement video, and you were one of the artists announced. I'm like, oh shit, like this is the guy. I saw this name right here, and that's the way you
Yeah.
kind of have to do it. Is be that grassroots approach there, you know?
Exactly, man. You just got to reach out to everybody and not be afraid. And if they don't get back to you, it is what it is. Jason Alon taught me that, man. He said straight up to me, I was talking to him and he was like, he did my vocal lessons early on. And basically he said, you just got to reach out to people. And if they don't get back to you, they're just assholes or they're busy. Like, it is what it is. Just move forward and keep doing what you got to do.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So, um, going forward, then, like you said, you're focused on the future. I noticed, like, on the earlier songs, some of those. I mean, like, my favorite one I think so far was "Broken Hearts Forever." It kind of sounded like a
Yeah,
fucking like a little Peep esque. You know what I mean?
for sure.
But then the most recent single, like "Normal Human," like I'm getting more Eminem vibe. Like going forward, is it going to kind of be a thing where we're going back and forth on these things, or what?
I genuinely
Or
never know. I uh I I just write how I'm feeling and it just comes out that way, which sounds like a cop out of the answer, but that's the truth.
no, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. So did you grow up like you grew up more of a hip hop kid then
Yeah,
in
actually
general?
my like first influences were hip hop, a lot of rap music, and then I got into Warp Tour for free on accident. Kevin Lyman let me in when
Sick.
I was 11 years old, and
Sick.
the first time I met him, and he let me in, and I experienced My Chemical Romance and all these other bands, and I got into that as well. And then I got into bands for like 10 years, like I said. So that was like majority of my life. And now I'm doing majority of my music career in my life. I mean, kind of in a way, but now I'm doing it solo, and it's a lot more fun, a lot easier, and I'm having a good time with it.
What's your writing process now doing it solo? Because I played in bands forever, and that transition to like try and do things by myself is why I never progressed really.
Yeah.
Is like so. I mean, as a former guy from a band, like, are you sitting down? Like, are you working with a producer? I mean, I hear some of them. It's starting on a fucking guitar. I imagine.
Yes.
What's the
Yeah.
average?
I
What's
mean,
the average
sometimes
process?
I get sent music. Sometimes I sit down with my guitar. Sometimes I just write before I even have music. I have lyrics on my phone like for days that I could use. Some may never be used, and I just sit there with whatever sparks inspiration. I mean, it's always different.
I get that. I get that. Who are the main influences? Let's say on Broken Heart Chronicles.
Definitely Lil Peep on that one. I was listening to, this is weird. I was listening to a lot of The Weeknd at the time, which makes no translation into my album, but yeah,
That's funny.
someone
I
using
went
that over
I went
there.
I went and saw The Weekend a couple of years ago,
Oh,
and I
really?
was at the show. Yeah, and it was at SoFi out here in LA. And like I think just because like I'm a 35, like I must have been like 32, so like I think I'm just like the oldest white guy in the crowd. This dude came up to me and he "Let's Go Brandon" me, and I looked at him. He's like, "There's only so many people here I can say that to." I'm like, "Brother, like you just did racism against me. I've never experienced that shit. Like,
That's crazy.
like don't include me
Bro,
in
everyone's
that."
yelling outside. They're excited for the show.
I was gonna say there's probably a decent crowd, right? How big is this venue here?
Um, I think it fits like a few hundred.
Okay, okay.
It's gonna be a
You're
smaller
originally
one
from
on your tour,
Syracuse,
but it's
right? Or is
definitely,
it
yeah.
Buffalo?
It's in Syracuse.
Are you from Syracuse? You're from Buffalo. I couldn't remember that.
I am from Syracuse originally.
Okay, okay. So this is local show, local show. Okay.
This is a local show. They hit me up. They were like, "Yo, you're on Warped Tour 2. Do you want to play this?" I was like, "Yes." So I just hopped on. And I met everybody today on the tour. They're very nice. All the guys are super cool.
You know, I I wasn't super familiar with TX2 before, and I
Yeah.
asked some people in my circle, and there's all this controversy. It sounded like, but it kind of sounded like there wasn't like it was all a much ado about nothing. It's like, oh, he kind of does this now. I'm like, okay, but is he like a bad guy? Like, did he like do SA or something? Well, no, And then I asked a different friend, and she's like, this guy's an angel. I'll vouch for him. She saw him like a week or two ago, and she said like he
Mm.
reached out and he asked the girl like permission before he like grabbed her hand. Even she's like, I just took like he was so respectful. He's great with his fans. So like, I mean, why do you think this guy maybe gets a bad rap?
Ah, man, I don't know. I honestly think that anybody that gets popular and is also a little bit different might get just kind of looked at differently. I mean, that's how life is. When we're in high school, it's the same thing. You dress a certain way, people say
Yeah.
certain things. I mean, you just got to keep going and not worry about it. Honestly, like, I get a lot of shit too for different things that I do, and I just got to, like, just stay true to yourself and just keep going.
I mean, yeah, and at the end of the day, I guess especially in the modern like music entertainment, like you're fighting for people's attention as they're scrolling and stuff like that. You kind of have
Hmm.
to grab their attention. You have to, like, that's why I'm like, I commend him for that. You know, he's grabbing their attention. You know what I mean? And I think to
Yeah.
some degree that is very respectable. And there's gonna be negativity that comes with it, but I guess as long as you know who you are and you're being, you know, like you said, true to yourself. Reconnecting there.
Sorry,
There we go.
I
Oh, you're good.
apologize.
You're good.
I'm in like a bunker.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I
I
was
had
gonna
to
say,
move.
yeah, yeah, this is deep. This is deep, yeah.
I
As
know I
long as
had to
it works, as
move.
long as it works,
You know.
you're good. You're good. So how did the Warp Tour spot come to be? I mean, I guess that's probably as someone who grew up getting in for free because of Kevin Lyman, that had to be pretty fucking cool, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, so Kevin and I made dinner plans like a few months out before the announcement, and
Hmm.
we were talking about it and whatnot, but he never even said that he was doing it. We were talking about other
Sneaky.
things, which is just like life, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
then I emailed him a Merry Christmas thing, and he was like, "Yo, are you playing Warp Tour?" Obviously, Kevin Lyman didn't say yo, but you know what I mean. Kevin
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, "Are you playing Warp Tour? I'm sending you the contract." I was like, "Yeah, I am." So
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah,
Do you got anything special planned for that? I mean, that's pretty far away still. We're talking November, but are you putting something special together for that, or is it going to be just kind of the
always,
normal set?
not always special.
Okay, okay, okay.
I have a full band. I have special merch. I have special everything. We're gonna we put on a good time.
There we go.
As
There
I
we go.
devilishly smile.
Right? I was gonna say this sounds like fucking trouble. And I guess as you get closer, you'll find out like what stage and the like you're playing and all that. So there's still some excitement to come from that.
Oh, for sure. I don't even know what day I'm playing yet.
Oh shit. Oh, it's not. So it's not going to be everyone's playing both days. It's going to be split between the 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I don't think I understood that. Like, I wasn't sure if they were doing like just full Warp Tour both days, and just you could fucking mix it up. I don't know.
No, I think they're doing
No.
as far as I read, what they're doing is specific bands on one day and then the next day different bands. So
Okay, like a 2-day fest.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
me
yeah.
let me ask you a question about Warp Tour and just the intersect between hip hop and stuff, because like there's a big divide between like I'd say rap culture in general and like the alternative culture, not so much in behavior because like obviously we have some fucking menaces and pop punk and shit, but I mean in terms of like lyricism, like there's a lot of like hip hop lyrics that will be taken as very like misogynistic and shit like that, whereas in hip hop it's just like kind of normal, you know what I mean? Like how do you manage to try to blend those? How would you explain that to maybe the pop punk kids who maybe walk up on a set and maybe hear that fucking last verse of Normal Human and shit or something like that? Like
Then they should hear my next song.
there we go. Okay, okay. I was gonna say like that's got to be like a cultural like divide at times. That's where the scenes divide. I feel like.
Yeah, there's definitely also I think when you do certain things, if you do it the right way, people understand where you're coming from.
That's very fair. What do you like in terms of like they can tell like an authenticity or like a good
Probably like
intention?
an authenticity, but also like authentic in how you're trying to present yourself. You
Okay,
know what I
I get
mean?
that.
So like
Like,
for instance, like with Normal Human, I definitely was like saying some wild stuff, but like if you heard my voice in it, it sounds like I'm poking fun at certain things. So am
okay.
I being serious or am I like I don't know, it's just up to you. I don't know, man.
No,
Music's
no,
music.
yeah. Exactly too. And I think a lot of times there's this misconception with like emo shit where like emo songs are like all diary, you know what I mean? Like this is all directly honest and hip hop it has that as well, but there's also like a level of character like and artistic play and things like that where maybe like yeah, maybe sometimes it might go over people's head or they'll just see it as the face value thing. Whereas like you said, like there's a level of like satire, character to it.
Um, I have to get going because the show's gonna be
Let's
starting soon.
let's wrap it up. All right. Jeremy, thank you for joining me. If you
Thank
guys are
you.
on the internet, go follow this dude. Hey, good luck tonight, brother.
Thank you so much, man. Hey,
All right.
keep up what you're doing.
Thank you. Keep on grinding. You too, buddy.
All right, man. Peace out.
Later, buddy.
Later.